EY-Parthenon is now a 25,000 person global organization operating in more than 120 countries. I'm James O'Dowd, and to explore that journey, I'm joined by EY-Parthenon Global Vice Chair, Andrea Guerzoni, and Parthenon Group founder, Bill Achtmeyer.
We didn't need to sell in 2014. We had built up a very strong private equity business, and we had a great education business. Most people thought education was, by and large, for consulting firms, a pro bono project. We actually were able to make money out of it. And then we had these emerging sector opportunities before us. Some of my partners wanted to do technology, some consumer, some industrial, some healthcare. But we were competing with the likes of McKinsey, Bain, and BCG. It was going to take a serious amount of investment to get even close to being on even, not equal ground, but just sort of a position where we could compete. We were approached by EY. We went through a process of interviewing various firms. The thing that impressed us most, and me for sure, was their commitment to sort of transcend the fact that their governance was on a country basis in most of the accounting firms. They had gone through their own transition in starting up this transaction advisory services business. The people that I met were fairly entrepreneurial and incredibly nice and thoughtful folks. And so their message to me was, we want you to stay and continue to lead this, and we're by and large going to let you do your thing. And sure enough, you know, they did. And I think by giving us the ability for at least the first 3 or 4 years to drive the business in a manner that we thought was appropriate. The second was you had to have insights that were actionable for our clients. And the third was we were going to have a lot of fun along the way. It turned out it was a great team and complementary, and I think got us, you know, it's certainly the momentum that came during that period allowed us to establish a real position within EY.
Because it's difficult to do, right? Like, I mean, M&A and professional services right now is so hot, and a number of integrations for various reasons don't work out. I mean, how did you guys make such a success of it early on and obviously build it to the scale it is? What would, if you had to sort of think of a couple of things that really worked between the two business and you guys as individuals, what were they?
I would say that, I mean, the human factor is fundamental. I mean, actually, as Bill mentioned, we like each other. And if I look at the key drivers, I mean, first and foremost, yes, we as a firm, we tend to be very entrepreneurial, but at the same time, our culture is based on a set of very clear, well-defined values, but can be defined as an open source. I mean, we are very open to embrace different cultures, different experience. We like really to learn from other people, and that's probably something that differentiated immediately in terms of approach. We didn't want really to integrate Parthenon into EY to make it maybe our sales force for big consulting things. That was not really what we wanted. I mean, we had learned the lessons other competitors had tried this kind of way, and we understood very well that it could not work. Actually, we wanted really to build something unique in the market. The buzzword Bill and I were using when engaging with potential targets for our build-up exercise was you're gonna really meet the best of the two worlds, the size, the financial strength, and the organization of a Big Four in a way that another Big Four could not really offer as a mindset, and we did it.
There are many elements of what EY-Parthenon does where they are the world leader. So, you know, the three things that impress me about EY-Parthenon today is, one, it's end-to-end capability. all of which are top-notch, some of which are world beaters. The second is that the global scale of EY in total is just incredible. And it gives you financial resources you wouldn't otherwise have. I think you told me that you're investing $250 million in AI. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And that's not the last of those investments.
Right.
Because they're going to have to continue to do that. But they have the capacity to do it. And then the third is that the sector capability of EY is deep on any sector you want to talk about. Mm-hmm. It's energy, utilities, doesn't matter. It's the full scope of the GDP. Those are three things that are hard to come by.
Yeah.
And so it does separate them from the pack. But we had 6 years of sort of transitioning the sort of little high-end boutique, if you will, into, as one of my partners said, into big pants consulting. And then it became clear that other parts of EY had elements that were really important for sort of an end-to-end capability. Mm. And so we were able to take some of these other parts of it at the time, transaction advisory services, and after I left it was strategy and transactions, I believe, and have that become part of EY-Parthenon. And I think, it's obviously, as the founder of Parthenon, I love the fact that they've kept the brand still alive, but I do think that was important because it is a distinguishing factor. I think if it were EY strategy, we'd have had a much more difficult time gathering the kind of talent that we were able to and the momentum that we were able to achieve. And, it's humbling to think that today it's at 25,000 people, over $7 billion in revenue. I think you should know that when we went in our conversations with EY, I was bold enough to say, I think we could be $1 billion. And yet, here we are today. To think that it was going to be as big as it is today,
incredible.
Never would have, in my wildest dreams, come up with that number.
Our model has always hinged on this concept of creating real value, so strategy that works in practice, not just on paper. So we stretch the concept of strategy, embedding into the strategic thinking the potential outcome using the expertise that we have within our 400,000 strong organization, looking at all the relevant aspects before we enter into the execution phase. So that's really the next frontier. I think that's what our clients want. They really want real value, measurable value, and this is what our organization is famous for, because we do have this complete continuum between the strategy and the execution. For us, it's the same thing. There's no strategy if there's no value realization at the end.